Hello, welcome back to the Sydney Stoma channel. My name's Chris and this is the third take of this video, so hopefully I'll get it right this time. Sometimes I just get all my words muddled up and it all just comes out and it almost sounds like a different language. So hopefully we'll get it right on this one. I hope you're doing really well. Yes, we're still in these COVID times, so again I hope you're staying safe and doing well with your health under the circumstances. So this video is about having Crohn's disease and having COVID. So yes, I have had the dreaded COVID. It was back in January that I had COVID, sort of beginning part of January. So I just want to talk about, did it affect my Crohn's disease? Did I have any issues because of COVID? Did it affect the Crohn's? So I'm not on any medication. I haven't been on medication for over a year now. So I'm not on any immune suppressant drugs. So I just wanted to then talk about how it affected me being a Crohny, but without meds. So yeah, back in January, I was at work and we're having a team meeting. And funny enough, in that team meeting, it was coming to the end of the week. Well, it was the end of the week, it was a Friday. And we're having a team meeting and people were joking about having COVID symptoms, saying they feel unwell, you know, just making jokes about hoping to get 10 days off, but in a nice way, you know, it was all done in jest. But at that time I was sitting there thinking, actually I do feel a bit unwell. And I just kind of kept it quiet. I just thought, I do feel a bit unwell, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm going to get sent home and then I'll have to get a test and isolate and stuff like that. And I like what I do. So I just sat there quietly and I'd had a really busy week. So bearing in mind it was a Friday, I'd had a really busy week at work. Been quite stressful, been quite tiring, so thinking perhaps I'm just tired and a bit run down because I do suffer with fatigue. So I was thinking that was it. I'm just a bit tired and a bit run down. Then I got home in the evening and chilled out for a bit. And I was sat on my bed chatting to a friend on the phone. And I said to my friend, I said, I'm actually starting to feel quite unwell. So again, we had a bit of a laugh and a joke saying it's probably COVID. And I started to feel quite unwell. I started to get warm. And I said to him, I said, his name's Lee. I said, Lee, I'm feeling quite hot. And he said the same. He said, you know, you've had a busy week, perhaps you just run down and you need a good night's kip. So I thought, yeah, must be that. But then, boy, how fast COVID came on surprised me. It's the speed that came on. So I put the phone down from Lee and I did get myself sort of chilled out in bed, and within an hour I was feeling really, really rough. Horrendous temperature. The sweat that was coming off me it was like someone was holding a shower above my head. The sweat was literally pouring off me. When I was laying on my back, I'm only slim, the bit in your chest, it was pooling like a little splashy puddle. Quite just obscene amounts of sweat. I had to put towels on the bed. Then I'd go cold, then I'd get the chills, hot, cold. And my head felt like it wanted to explode. I really felt unwell. My body was really, really aching. My chest seemed okay. I didn't have a tight chest or particularly a cough. And I thought, this is COVID. This isn't flu. I know what the flu feels like. There were some similarities, but I thought this has got to be COVID. So I was up most of the night, so I went online and I booked a COVID test for the following morning. So it was a Friday night. The Saturday morning, I went up and got a COVID test. Was lucky to get a 8:30 appointment. Drove 15 odd miles to where the test centre was. Felt dreadful. I really was thinking I probably shouldn't have driven. Because it was quite early in the morning, I didn't want to wake my wife up and get her to drive me. So I drove, and driving back I was feeling really, really wretched. And I knew I had COVID. So the day progressed and I just progressively got worse in the way I was feeling. Felt like my head was going to explode, constant temperatures, did have a bit of a sore throat. But again, I didn't have a cough, but my chest was starting to feel tight, but not horrendously tight. But the body aches, the aches and pains in my body were just horrific. My legs did two things. They either felt like lead weights, where I was having to lift my legs up to get them to move. They just didn't want to move. And then the other side of that is they'd feel really fragile and feel like jelly. And when I stood up, it felt like I was going to fall over because my legs were just like jelly. But then my whole body felt like that as well. So I was still having the sweat, still having the temperatures, hot and cold chills, massive headaches, felt like my head was going to explode and my face was always hot and burning. Even my hands felt like they pins and needles affecting them, just really felt unsettled, my hands. And again, yeah, my legs, and the fatigue and the tiredness was just horrendous, really horrendous. And that went on for a couple of days. And that's when I lost my taste and smell. Sort of 2 days to 3 days later, the smell went, and I could tell my smell was going because my nose felt strange. I had this strange sort of smell in my nose. Didn't necessarily feel blocked, but I just had this strange sensation in my nose, almost like a bit of a tingling and a bit of a burnt sort of smell going on. And then it went completely, and as did my taste. I literally couldn't taste or smell anything, which is strange. And I believe my taste has suffered over the years with all the meds that I've been on. I think that has had an impact on my taste, where I haven't always been able to taste things to their full effect. I get that with food, but not with drinks. I can taste drinks for some reason. But yeah, it completely went, and that was a very strange feeling, putting food in your mouth and not being able to smell it or taste it. And I like to smell food as I'm eating it. That was a really strange feeling for me, and that went on for about 5 days before that eased off. In fact, that still lingered after the main symptoms went. So the main symptoms, they did kind of go, but I was left with fatigue and tiredness. I was getting really tired by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which sometimes isn't unusual for me, being that I have Crohn's disease and fibromyalgia. And it just all felt like all 3 of those tiredness was horrendous. It felt like I could have fallen asleep on a razor blade. That's how sort of tired I was. I felt like I could just lay down on anything and fall asleep. And that did improve. I can get to sort of 4 or 5 o'clock now, and I hit that barrier where I still feel tired. So I've still got lingering effects of the fatigue, but you get fatigue with Crohn's anyway. You get fatigue with fibromyalgia, and you're going to get it with the COVID. So that's generally how I felt, and it lasted about a week and a half, the sort of main symptoms. But the Crohn's side of things, did it do anything to my Crohn's? I think it did. I certainly got a really upset stomach. My stomach didn't like having that virus. I was getting lots of stomach pain, lots of pain in the stomach area, the intestine area, the whole sort of abdomen, lower abdomen area. Lots of pains in there which were reminiscent of when I've been really ill with Crohn's. So I was trying not to worry about that, because I thought if you worry too much about things, I think we can make things worse. By being stressed, it creates chemicals in your body that kind of progress things. So I was trying not to stress, but I definitely had an upset stomach. My stomach was not enjoying that virus. I think it was struggling to deal with it, which in turn, it changed the output in my stoma. My output in my stoma is normally quite thick and quite slow, but it sped that up. My intestines were definitely working faster, and it became a lot more liquid-like. The stools that were coming out, it was definitely filling my bag. I can go 2-3 days on the same bag, but during having COVID, I was having to change it every day. It was filling up very, very quickly, and it was always very, very liquidy, almost not quite diarrhea levels of liquid, but it was certainly along those ways, a bit more like a thick milkshake really is the consistency. I hope you're not drinking a milkshake right now. That's kind of like the consistency it got to. That's back to normal now. I say that. I have had some issues recently, but I'm saving that for another video. So there's 2 parts I'm going to do to this video. This is about COVID and Crohn's and COVID. And then the video that's going to follow this is about having the vaccine. I have since had the vaccine, and that creates some issues, but I'm saving that one for another video. So yeah, Crohn's wise, it definitely affected my stomach. Has it recovered? Pretty much has. Still feels a bit sore in places. Certainly on my right side, it's a bit sore. And that's generally why I'm always predominantly got my Crohn's pain, was in the terminal ileum part where the small intestine meets the large. I get that pain, comes back, and that was occurring the whole time I had COVID. I always had that pain. So it definitely aggravated the Crohn's, but certainly not enough to, put me in hospital, to go and seek advice. It was just the pain that I was used to and I knew that I could deal with and manage. So did it affect my Crohn's? I believe it did. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with the video really. So I've had the COVID, I've got through it, I didn't have to go into hospital, and I never really got the cough. I didn't get the cough, and I only had a very slight tight chest, nothing nothing major. So overall, certainly not a positive experience, but I think I got away with it a lot better than other people that have certainly got immune diseases, etc. But I'm also not on any immune suppressant drugs, so I think that was a factor as well. So there you go, that's my story of Crohn's disease and COVID, having them both at the same time, and how it went for me. If you've had COVID and you've got Crohn's, then let me know. Let me know how it affected you. If you've got Crohn's and you've had COVID and you are on immune suppressant drugs, then definitely let me know. I'd love to hear about how that affected you. And anyone else that's had COVID, how did it affect you? Put something in the comments. I'd love to know. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. And please, everybody, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.